I welcome my guests. I will switch to English because we have a non-native Romanian speaker. He's trying to learn Romanian, but it takes some time. And so we have alongside ourselves Călin Văduva, entrepreneur, sequel entrepreneur in IT&C sector, the hotel sector. He has just recently concluded a nice transaction, and will tell us a bit more about why and how long it took. Okay, and then we have alongside Ionuț Ciubotaru from OMV Petrom. Energy is on top of the deals sectors, the transactions in energy, like Georgia was mentioning before, have the biggest values and one of the biggest number. So we'll find out from Ionuț more how many transactions OMV Petrom is looking for. Okay, and then we have alongside Ur, CEO of Memorial. He just concluded a transaction and entered the Romanian market. So we listen who's Memorial, why is here, and what the plans are for continuing, transforming, transacting, what it's in the cards. And George, of course, will manage to gather the.
We also have Dragoș
we have
I
online.
don't know if
Sorry,
he
I
joined
forgot.
the call. I kindly ask my colleagues to double check if Dragoș can see us. Hi, Dragoș.
Hi, Dragoș. Nice seeing you again.
Somebody has to stay back and execute the acquisition.
We can hardly hear you.
Conclusion, I apologize for not being there.
It's a pleasure for you to have you in this video call, and you are like here.
Yes.
Thank you.
In a virtual and digital world, we are either physically present or virtually present. Yeah. So I will break the ice with Călin, and would like to hear from Călin who's Fortec and how come Fortec entered into this transaction when they were good by themselves, and like to hear a bit more of his experience from out of this, and how does it feel after concluding such a deal. Călin.
Thank you, Cornelia. First of all, thanks a lot. Does the microphone work? Okay. So first of all, thanks a lot for inviting me. Really appreciate not only inviting me, but working together in the last, let's say, 6 months or 5 months. Who is Fortec? Actually, I would say that up to last year, we consider ourselves a 100% Romanian company, private-owned business. And up until last year in May, we thought the only one path for us is growing up in Romania in the way that we used to do in the last 20 years. What we are doing, we are a service company. We work in the product engineering, digitalization, a team around 1,200 people, working in 4 locations. Cluj is the headquarter, Oradea, it's a big 150 people, or Iași, around 100 people, and Brașov, almost 100 people. So we are in the product engineering, in digitalization, and up to last year, I think we've been the biggest Romanian 100% owned company, and as I said, going on in the same direction. We work exclusively for, let's say, out of our Romania market. Around 60% comes from DACH areas, Germany, Switzerland, Austria. 20% of the business comes from US and 20% from UK. So again in the product engineering. How we get on this point? I think last year I think the story started in 2003 with the company. We started with 5 people in Cluj, having a small meeting in a OMV station, actually talking in a coffee. Okay, what's up? We just closed a company. It was the first one, bankruptcy. With one customer, the customer get bankrupt. A nice story starting from 98 to 2003. We start saying in 2003, let's build again a new nice company. The previous one was 25 people. Our team was, okay, let's build a company about 30 people. Okay, and we reach 1,200 at the end of this chapter. We think, I think we start in May last year. I think in the last 20 years, we have 10 years of up and downs, almost close to bankruptcy, getting again on the new history. But we realized step by step we get stronger, and when we start in 2013, we had a nice evolution and growing up. Since 2013, in the last 10 years, we have constantly companies asking us, okay, we would like to invest, we would like to M&A, we would like you to join our path. I think even with the current buyer, with the Global Logic, we had at least three other discussions in the past. So we thought we'll go on this path, we'll go on the growing up in Romanian. But in May last year, even in May, we had the discussion, okay, we are interested to invest, and we say no. But in May, something changed. We start working on a project for strategical, how we'll develop, how we'll grow up Fortec, how we'll make a business bigger. And we realized that the way that we have been up to then, going on Romanian, growing, step by step, constantly 25% year by year with a solid EBITDA. It's not the way that we can do it for a long time. We realized that for building an interesting company in product engineering, software development, we need to be present in multiple locations. Means being close to the customer in UK, US, Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, so on. And being also having a possibility to develop and to deploy staffing from different locations, not only Romania, but also in other countries in East Europe, other countries from Asia Pacific, other countries of South America. So that means a big change, a change for our game. A change for our game that means a lot of investment, financial. We've been very healthy, and we were all the years in the last 5 years healthy business, but we could not, let's say, get such a challenge from two reasons: financial investment, and the second, management experience. It's a totally new game we haven't played up to then. So starting at this point, we said, okay, let's see what are the approaches, and we realized that the only one approach and the only one way to do that is to get an investment. So in May, we start thinking about this investment. In June, I think we get July, we get an agreement with the advisor, with an investment banker, and in August we start the process, getting also the other advisor in place, including PwC on the financial FDD, and that was a really short, let's say, short path from August to November when we close, when we sign in 21st of November. I think we had 3 months of intense period, working intense, and start working on the deal. So actually, that was a kind of short story. There are many stories in this path.
We had many nights and many night-hour discussions.
Many calls at 11 o'clock.
It's the first time we see physically in person, so we've been working together virtually at many hours, morning, nights. But it was a very interesting experience, and like a roller coaster all time, but in the end successfully. Thank you. George,
I kindly ask Ionuț to give us some insights in this very hot sector, which is energy, and if Ionuț can share with us some insights on the OMV Petrom future strategy. I want to start with a discussion I had with Ionuț yesterday. He was saying about development, M&A, but also partnerships. What partnerships means in this evolution?
Okay. Thank you. Indeed, we are seeing now the trend a bit further than M&As. Okay, I'm not an expert in that, but I can, at least from our concept, partnership is a bit more than M&A. Of course, M&A is the main part of it, but we need to also think of this concept word, how we want to call it. I will start with a short background to give you the context. So during the energy transition, which we are also involved in, maybe some of you knows already, we published our strategy for 2030. Now we are working for some scenarios for even 2040 and 50. But up to 30, we want to invest 11 billion, which is the biggest investment announced, hopefully also executed by a Romanian company until now. And a big part of it is energy transition. Or in energy transition, due to the size of the investments, due to the complexity, due to the risk, because at the end of the day, we try to transform our energy sector through innovation. And whenever you speak about innovation, of course, it's something with high risk. So considering all these, you need to work in partnerships. I mean, if someone will say that they will do alone, I really don't trust. I was trying to relate with a lot of other companies active in this sector all around the world, and everybody is thinking this of implemented energy transition by partnerships. So this is how it starts. Actually, in our case, and it's the case where we've been lately, I mean, in the last more than 1.5 years, I believe, or something, in very close connection with the PwC, of course, being on the other side of the table. But we were working in developing the partnership between us and Complex Energetic Oltenia, which was really complex, and we are still discussing now. In the break, I was with Sorin discussing about how to figure it out, to some way out in some issues. So yes, the partnership is the main way forward that we will have in implementing the energy transition. And here, I may thinking of this kind of partnerships and projects like we have with Complex Energetic Oltenia. You may also think that whatever is happening now in the solar and wind business all around Europe, and now with the hottest point almost Romania and Poland, that there are a lot of projects developed by small project development companies, and then you need to go there, you need to either buy the entire shares, or in some of the cases they want to keep some shares. In some of the cases there are also some EU funds involved. So whenever you want to buy a project which reach RTB, and then to buy actually the project rights, there may be attached also some EU funds. This increased again the complexity, and also the transaction complexity and the operation of it. Besides that, on our strategy, we also consider the regionalization of OMV Petrom. So we want to grow in the region. Of course, in many directions. Gas is one of the area where we want to grow. You know our bet. We are still betting on gas as transition fuel that can allow us to go from the status quo to the future status of net carbon zero. So also in this, and here we are again closely working with PwC for the countries around us. So there are a lot of initiatives that at the end finished in partnerships, not in only taking the shares and whatsoever. And to increase also the complexity in those partnerships, you need to consider also the operating model, which is, yes, indeed, maybe a GV, I heard on the previous panel, or a JOA, joint operation model, and so on. And based on that, again, you need to rely with experts to see how is the consolidation, where this goes, where that goes. So there is a high complex environment where, of course, the energy industry will live in the next years, and we really hope that we will better understand. I may say at the moment we don't have the full understanding. When we started, actually, just to give you some insights, when we started, we thought, some of us, we thought that we know what M&A is and then will be easy. It's not, I can tell, it's not at all. Yes, we're happy to work with some very good experts from you guys and some others, but still a lot of room to learn.
We are happy to educate.
Thank you.
And be alongside you. Thank you so much. And we will go now on the healthcare, because we've seen healthcare is again alongside the energy on the top sectors transacting, and would like to hear from you who's Memorial and why Memorial picked on Romania. I mean, what attracted you much? And you just concluded your first transaction. How do you feel about it? Thank you.
Thank you, Cornelia. Thanks also for inviting me to this event. This is my first, speech, or participation in this kind of event. So I'm a little bit, excited. Memorial has been founded back in 2000. So this is our 23rd year in the business. In Turkey, we have 11 big hospitals. Last year, we served around 3 million patients. It's a huge number also for Turkey. We are one of the big players who is focusing mainly on quality of services and also a perfect patient experience. We are very famous in Turkey in some complex areas like live donor liver transplantation, kidney transplants, bone marrow transplants, very complex cardiac surgeries, and also a lot of innovative solutions for cancer patients. Turkish healthcare is developing very fast in the last 20 years. So especially the private sector, which is around 25% of the whole healthcare sector in Turkey. We learned a lot, we experienced a lot. And as a company who's leading the country, we want to go abroad. One of the reasons was the depreciation of Turkish lira, right? We are doing very well in Turkey as a company. Before the pandemic or before the high inflation time, we were growing around 50%, on real terms, and now our EBITDA is growing more than that. So starting from 2020, we decided to go abroad and start a global expansion project, but unfortunately the COVID, came out and it stopped us for 1.5 years. So last, in the middle of 2021, we selected 5 countries to look at, and Romania was one of them. Why Romania? Romania is a very dynamic country. It's developing. The healthcare is also very young. We thought that we can help the country to transform the healthcare system. Unfortunately, Turkish healthcare system is a little bit ahead of Romania. So we also thought that we can bring our know-how here and improve the quality of service, not only for our patients, also for the whole country, because healthcare is a very competitive, business, and when you do something good, your competition does it very, very, very easily. So whatever we do good in certain part of our country, also in Turkey, our local competition, copy that, and it really adds value to the whole system, and the whole system's, quality bar is increasing each year. So during the time, the first meeting that I have in Romania was with the team of PwC in their office back in I think it was July 2021. First, we decided to go for a greenfield, because the current size of the hospitals were not very good for us, to perform a integrated healthcare or a multidisciplinary healthcare. So we believe that one of the problems in Romanian healthcare is that the the service must be integrated, and each department or each specialty must work hand in hand to find a solution for the complex problems of the patient. So for that reason, we need a bigger hospital. But unfortunately, we learned that it will take us a lot of time to construct a new hospital. Then we switched our strategy for acquisition. And luckily, we end up with one of the best hospitals of Romania. In hospitals, building doesn't mean anything. The technology doesn't mean anything. The teams that you work, the quality of doctors, the quality of nurses is very critical. So we are very happy to end up acquiring the Monza Hospital in NIT Medical City in Vanessa. So we have just started in the 1st of December, and things are going very well. As a Turkish operator coming to Romania as a first step, it's also very hard for us, but we are learning the dynamics of the market, and we are very optimistic about the future.
As you saw in the beginning of our conference, all the sectors are somehow connected. Not to mention that there are a lot of cross-sector deals, but there is a very large interest to look at other sectors. IT is, of course, the key focus because all the companies are interested to look at IT, to digitalize, to improve, to transform the business, but also energy. I also kindly ask Dragoș if he can hear us about the strategy of Therapia, who is part of a larger group. Maybe I kindly ask Dragoș also to present who Therapia is and how the sectors and industries are connected and to share his views. Please, Dragoș.
Hello again. Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to be part of the big mergers and acquisitions, or on the list of the important mergers and acquisitions of 2022. Therapia, in a way, is forged in mergers and acquisitions. Some of you remember that Therapia was acquired in 2006 by the Indian company at that time, Ranbaxy. It was the biggest transaction ever in Romania done at that point, $325 million, which is roughly 450 million today. So and what people maybe do not know is that Therapia standalone used to be, before Ranbaxy or to Ranbaxy, Therapia was sold by the private equity fund Advent. And as Therapia under Advent, we acquired a smaller manufacturing site in Bucharest, Pharma Plant Biogalenica. So Therapia has a manufacturing unit in Cluj, and this is why I am here in Cluj right now. Like I said, we are a long, let's say, row of mergers and acquisition. In 2006, Ranbaxy acquired Therapia. Then in 2009, Daiichi Sankyo, the Japanese innovative player, has acquired Ranbaxy, and with Ranbaxy it acquired Therapia. And in 2014, I think, is the last merger and acquisition. Ranbaxy and Therapia alongside with it has been acquired by Sun Pharma, the Indian-American generics and specialty company. Sun Pharma is the 5th largest generic and specialty company in the world, a turnover of roughly $5 billion in 2022, and one of the most developed generics company in emerging markets. Romania is, as many other companies, seen as an emerging market, but the main markets in this area, emerging markets, except Romania. We are working in Brazil, we are working in South Africa, we are working in continental India and in Euro-Asian Union. So very large, more than $1.5 billion revenue in emerging markets. Now, post the acquisitions that we concluded last year with Uractiv, and maybe we can talk about that, and maybe we can talk about how we see the vicious circle transform. Ranbaxy, Sun Pharma did spend another $500 or $600 million in acquire other companies and other portfolios of products. So coming back to the beginning of the seminar, obviously in the pharmaceutical business, you will hear a lot of mergers and acquisitions coming forward in the next couple of years.
Dragos, I remember good old times when we were together in a deal, but many years ago, so glad to see coming forward and you acquiring or entering transactions, many interesting ones.
Like we say, we eat mergers and acquisitions on bread. Which we acquired, so we had a target and I was leading the team, a great team. We were not assisted by PwC or David, but it was a wonderful experience and a wonderful lesson, a wonderful learning session.
Thank you. Now, if we are to give some insights from what have you learned? You say it was, I don't know whether the first, but the first big, obviously, Călin. So what would you say it was the biggest challenge or the big learning point that you would like to share with the audience?
I think it's our multiple learnings, but before just going that, I would like to add a little bit about the new chapter we are studying. Okay, before I talk about Fortec now, I would like to set a little bit the stage for GlobalLogic. GlobalLogic, I think it's a company about 30,000 people working in multiple locations, and they have been acquired by Hitachi, a big corporation. And I would say, and we are learning constantly since then. But let's start with a little bit the history of this story. This chapter of M&A. I think first of all, one thing we learned that the basic foundations that we build a business in the past, like the solid grounds, building something solid, mitigate the risk with multiple customers, take care about because we are in a people business. We are in a people business, and we have to make sure that we have a core team which is really strong. I think that helped a lot. That helped a lot in all the transactions, despite the fact that maybe we didn't know very well, I don't know, different areas, like in multi-corporations, but the fact that we build a solid foundation, it helped a lot. And that was a point, and in the process we learned that many times we look inside the forest, we see only the issues, but getting around outside of the forest and you see from outside the perspective of a company, it helps a lot. So I would say, if I would do now, I would do a kind of audit much more before this one. Financial, legal, and so on, just to understand a little bit the dynamics of the company, the way it works, what's valuable, what's not valuable, and so on. So I think if I would advise someone in the service company, I would like take care about the clients, take care about the people, because are the main values you have. All the rest, the G&A, the things can work or cannot work so well, but could be easily fixed and could be easily managed. In the process, I think this was, I would say, regarding the company. What I understand also in the process, at least in specific to our business, we used to have, actually we had two parts of the business. It's service business, which actually give us all the revenue, 100% in the company, and we have the investment company, the investment arms, like in the product, in the different ventures. And if I would do it now, I would separate completely. It's totally different businesses. So this is something like which I would do now. That's specific more for IT. So focus on the right business, focus on only one direction, not mixing the businesses, and take care about, okay, the growing directions. About the process, I think what we experienced, which was phenomenal, I think for us, 3 months of, they were a really intense process. But really, with full of adrenaline, we have all the time impression in the morning we get the adrenaline for the new day. I think it was essential to set up and to select and to work with the right partners. We had the right partners for investment banking, we have the right partners for financial, and I think for PwC it was an amazing experience for us. I think the process for FDD was planned for 1 month. I never thought it's going to be happen. Maybe it was not 1 month, it was 1 month and 2 days or 3 days or 1 week, I don't know, but it was right in time. They managed very well everything. I think we had calls at 11 o'clock in the AM. No, not 11 o'clock PM. We work with multiple, let's say, time zones: Japan, India, Romania, East Europe, and West Coast from US. So it was difficult to, but getting the right partner in this process is essential. It's a process where you have up and downs, nothing works as expected, but it's essential to have a kind of control, and that partnership helps a lot. So I would say it was essential to see the right coordination on the process, the right partner in time, and a really high motivation, because I think that was one point. What else I learned? I learned that nothing works as expected. So you have to be aware that things will change from one day to the other, in up and down, and so you have to enjoy this process and just spend your energy and time feeling the adrenaline, feeling that things are working, and not expecting necessarily, okay, for us the most easy aspect to negotiate was the pricing, nothing else. And I think was also good. We thought, I think we have been, as long as there were not so many companies on the market on the same size, we were really privileged to have a lot of companies interested. So it was, our view was not necessarily on the price. It was more important to choose the right partner that can provide us a good strategy for the future. And I'm really happy to see this happening now, because it's not it was not a financial interest, the first one, but was how we can position the strategical partnership in the future. And we see this for the people, because we see a lot of pets for growing up, the teams, and we see for us as a company a potential to grow out in the area and to give a kind of let's say, a new story in Romanian market for us and for the team. Okay. I can tell, I think, many others. I think I may just say one interesting story. It's like before getting an exclusivity was one of the peakest moments for me. I had in 30 minutes calls with the lawyer, with investment banking, with the first buyer, with the second buyer, and sometimes I had 3 calls in the same time, telling, okay, don't go in exclusivity, it's not the right place. I had calls with Cornelia. She said, okay, let's not go in that, not speed up, and make sure that you have everything clear and everything done. And that was 30 minutes of such intense moment, and that was amazing how finally we get the decisions and move on. But sometimes you just feel the pressure, it's so high that you cannot. So you have to be aware that once you go in this process, take it easy, take it with pleasure, and make sure that you enjoy it, and don't stress too much. Okay.
Thank you, Kalin. I do remember when you said, wow, my business looks completely different. I learn every day more about my business just looking at the numbers and the graphs. You remember? Thank you.
Ionuț, you mentioned that OMV Petrom has a 10-year strategy, 20-year strategy. You are working on a 30-year strategy, and I believe this is the right example of a company that transforms. It's transformed its business model, and I believe all the people inside the organization will transform in this perspective. Do you believe that is it something that can surprise you personally or as an organization in this strategy shift? Because it's I believe it's a completely different view compared to maybe 20 years ago. I don't know if you looked in the past where you were 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and to assess the point you are now and looking in the future, what future will prepare for you?
Yes, indeed. Actually, we did this exercise, looking at the past a bit and also trying to see the future. I think we are both cautious and very excited. So it's a mixed feeling actually. Building on what Călin said before, you know, we are learning, and indeed we are all learning, and this learning is very important as a process. And in order to prepare, and coming to M&As, I will come back to your question, but I wanted to point out that lately we have been in assessment of many opportunities for this kind of, as I said, this kind of M&As with different companies within this energy transition. And very negative surprise it was that most of them were not really prepared for such process. You know, I mean, okay, yes, we learned, as I said, we try to organize ourselves differently, we try to utilize the in-house knowledge, we try to utilize the advisory knowledge and so on at the very high level, but whenever we enter in discussions with several companies, they were not really prepared. And I think here is a big opportunity and also a kind of area where you can develop a lot. I mean, you as an experts on that, you may try to, and then those companies, they need to come to you to prepare for an M&A process, because if they only think that okay, I will do this, it's simple, and then of course we'll find a company with whom we'll discuss, then at that point in time I will hire an advisory and we'll see how we'll develop. This is not really the way forward. Yeah. So here is a big learning that we have, and also where we see a big area to improve. Coming to us, yes, we are looking as a transformation. So we think that our business model will transform. You see what happens, for example, with telecom or with automotive lately. If you look on how even 10 years ago, how telecom industry would have been 10 years ago, and what they are offering now, what is their business model now, is completely different. We are working on this as well, yeah, because the energy, of course, now is on big focus, and now everybody is focusing on electrons and molecules and so on. But definitely there will be transformation into our business models that will involve everything. Maybe the basis will be digital, you know, I mean, starting from this digital, or everything will be based on digital transformation. But transformation means everything, starting from processes that, by the way, we changed a lot of our processes lately, because we saw that our previous M&A processes were not really coping with the speed of the development into this kind of M&A deals that we are going now, or I like to call, as I said before, partnerships. You know, so that's why we tried and we speed up the processes, or in some areas we speed up, in some areas we relaxed, of course, but as a matter of fact, we changed our processes for this. So everything shall be changed, and at the end of the day, coming to the basis of all companies, the change in mindset of our people. So this change management process of changing the mindset of people is really difficult. Started already. I saw not only us but many other companies started already to do that. Of course, a lot of them started with digital transformation, which includes a big part of people in it. Nevertheless, we as an energy and as the biggest actually energy integrated company in Southeast Europe, we want to be the driver of it. Yeah, so we want to drive the energy transition in our area here, and we try to act as a very established entity, which kind of giving some examples to the society and to the economical environment. This is why, yes, transformation is on our focus, and we are started already to prepare in order to reach the very ambitious targets announced already for 2030 and of course for the years to come.
Ur, your turn right now in terms of challenges that you had faced during the M&A process and what you've learned. So whatever insights you can bring out of this process, what was good, what was most challenging, and big learning points.
It was challenging, obviously. I'm an ex-management consultant, so I've been in many deals helping the M&A teams in my previous job, good Arthur Andersen business consulting times. So I'm with Memorial for the last 18 years. I have also done 4 M&As in Turkey. We grow very fast between 2010 and 13. We add 9 new hospitals to our system, and 4 of them were M&A in Turkey. What I have learned and what are the challenges? As we were looking for different countries, there were also another due diligence in Germany that we are doing, and we have resources, not limited, but we have to use our resources, on a correct timing, not to invest in 2 countries at the same time. So for that reason, we had to prioritize our resources and timing also on that. And our group has some negative experiences for their international expansions before for their other businesses. We have a very big hard discount chain in Turkey called A101, 12,000 stores all over the country. We also own English Home. They are also in Romania. We also have a textile business. In the textile business, our attempts to grow internationally was not good. So that's why there was a tension in the board to invest in a different country where we are focusing mainly not on production but on human capital, because my main job is to manage people and to increase the efficiency in the hospital processes. So that's also very challenging for me to manage the board and also to manage them according to the timing. Unfortunately, the seller was not that ready and they were not up to speed, in the deal. We want to close the deal as soon as possible, but the information was not there. So we have very strict deadlines to manage the board. For that, deadlines was very, very hard. Second thing is that, cultural issues, right? So in Turkey, we are very fast, we do acquisitions very fast. We work 6 hours, 6 days of the week, timing is very critical for us. And also the behavior of the counterparts is very critical. So or our team has to learn the local teams, how do they behave, also the seller. So it's a different kind of culture. That's why we also had to adapt ourselves to the culture. That's the maybe second thing. And the third thing is, I think you have to get prepared, as soon as possible. The work that you do beforehand is very critical. The goal that you have, the strategy that you have before the deal is very, very important. So to have good people around you is very critical. So the M&A team of PwC, we also do everything. I see the importance of one firm, doing the deal. So we also work with the legal teams, tax teams, and also, all the teams of PwC. They were very helpful to us. I want to thank every part of the team here. That they were very valuable in our process. So in the critical, times, there was a meeting at 5 a.m. in one day. It was, go or no go decision. With the experience of the partners we have, the team we have, we solved that issue at 5 a.m. in the morning. So the team that you work is also very critical. And if you come, I don't know if you have there's this last tour, or do we have another tour? Last one. Okay. So I will also comment on this transact to transform, issue a few sentences. transaction is very important, but the most important thing is how you transform yourself and how you transform the company that you buy, because things are changing very fast. Also in healthcare, things are changing maybe faster than the other industries. Now we are moving in a digital healthcare arena, and we have to be ready to transform the operations that we have to be also very competitive in that segment. And hopefully we will also bring our know-how from Turkey also to Romania in the digital healthcare arena. So that's why I want to mention it as the last point, Cornelia.
Before asking Dragoș to comment, you can see that Călin and Ur is praising Cornelia because they worked very closely with Cornelia, while Ionuț and Dragoș were on the other side. That's why they're not praising us. So, Dragoș, we worked together on a very nice deal involving brand. And I kindly ask you to elaborate, how do you see the value of intangibles, and how these intangibles are part of your strategy going forward? If you look in the future, I don't know if you have a 10-year plan or 20-year plan in the Therapia level or Sun Pharma Group, but please share with us your views.
First of all, not surprisingly, in addition to what our colleagues in the board, in the presidium said, I would like to add that in this kind of transactions, and I say not surprisingly because I'm coming from the chemical industry, chemistry between the parties, especially also before exclusivity, but also post-exclusivity, is extremely important. So I think that this is one thing that I would reiterate, that we had a very good chemistry with the seller, with Fitterman, and we had surprisingly good chemistry with PricewaterhouseCoopers and David and Bayash. So from this point of view, I would like to thank both the parties for the lessons we have learned. Like I said, we had no representation. We have our internal, the company is so big that we have our internal mergers and acquisitions department. But again, I would like to emphasize that one important thing in the transaction was the chemistry between the parties, and the other, let's say, breakthrough was the moment then when the seller actually let go the brand, let go the product, because like the developer, like the mother and the father of the brand, sometimes an entrepreneur would not like to let loose the product. They think they would like to still keep it. And then the party very nicely told us that, okay, we gave birth to it, we send it to school, now you need to send it to college and to university. And that was the moment when, let's say, from a chemical point of view, the transaction went through. Obviously, there was a lot of hard work, especially on SPA, and a lot of tension and a lot of pressure from all the parties. So Călin was talking about pressure and challenges, and he is an entrepreneur. Imagine that there's a group behind you that is also giving their thoughts and pressure and challenges. Now, what we would like to do, our experience is not the first experience when we're acquiring or when we are targeting this kind of assets, incorporeal assets, intangible assets. It's the second or the third acquisition of something like that. And the reason is very simple. We would like to take these assets to add them to our existing portfolio. And it was a very good complement, because we had no assets and no products in this range of women healthcare. And we would like to, after the transfer, we would like to transform the product and transform it very quickly into a regional and then an international success. And having said that, regional and international, you can imagine how much pressure there was from a legal point of view, how much pressure was from the brand name point of view, the trade name point of view, because we had to check whether we would be able to register the product. There was some preparatory, the brand name, there was some preparatory work done by the seller, but the rest of the work needs to be done by us going forward. It is also interesting because there was also very good cooperation, and now we have a very good cooperation with the seller, because they continue to manufacture the product and they continue to manufacture our range. And we had requested to the seller to develop also other products into our range. So it is a fantastic continuation of collaboration, different probably from other mergers and acquisitions when you take everything, maybe move the manufacturing if it's a product, move the manufacturing into your own manufacturing facility. So this is why the chemistry and the confidence goes further. We have a 10-year plan, 20-year plan. I don't think we have, but Georgie, after this discussion, I will seriously think of a 20-year plan. A 10-year plan means definitely internationalization and taking this brand and the product and the manufacturing of this product into other of our emerging markets. Now, luckily, I'm responsible for Central and Eastern Europe markets and Euro-Asian markets. So it's much more easier to regionalize in those markets the brand and the product. In other markets, we will have to discuss with other stakeholders, and part of the transformation process now in our organization is to convince the other stakeholders that this product is a good complement to their portfolio and that they should invest in this product. And in a way, in a pharmaceutical business, I think it was said at the beginning of the conference, there is a lot and there will be a lot of spending in healthcare, whether lifestyle has been discussed, and moreover on lifestyle, we're talking about consumer healthcare. So this is a product that definitely will become a success, and we are looking forward to share with you our success going forward.
And thank you all for joining and sharing your views. And as a final remark, we at PwC, we are definitely committed to help you transform or transact your businesses. So we are here side by side to be your partner for any process, whether it's transformation or transaction. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have good lunch outside, another longer break if you want to take a break before continuing and going. So, please be invited.